And so that day dragged on, for all the interminable hours until the guests had passed by, their condolences received, and their presence noted. Only then was she allowed to slip away, almost stumbling with weariness, to return to her rooms and take the medicines her father insisted upon. He'd never listened when the Queen told them they would do no good. There was no medicine for what ailed her. But once she was tucked in bed, surrounded by quilts with a single lamp burning and her most trusted maid sitting quietly in the corner, she allowed herself to pick up the letter from where it rested on her night table. The paper was somewhat bent from the distance it had traveled in the ambassador's pouch, but the wax seal was intact. And her name, it was indeed her name written on it in a strong, precise hand. Had Danric written that too? It looked like the writing of an adult, not a boy. But then, he was quite a bit older than she was. Perhaps 16, and nearly a man in many ways. She broke the seal and unfolded it cautiously, unable to even guess at what it might contain, almost afraid to read it. She did not want to be disappointed again, did not want to learn that it contained more of the pompous, insincere sentiments that she had endured over the course of that miserable day.
To Her Royal Highness, Princess Evaraine of Farhall. I must begin with my apologies for a message that may be unwelcome in this time of mourning. However, Her Majesty, Queen Porciana, has expressed an earnest desire that I write to you. I consider myself bound by her wishes in this matter, and I hope that your patience with words of comfort from one completely unknown to you will prove greater than I apprehended to be. After learning of your loss, I did wish to express my sympathy in person. However, as my father's heir, it was considered unwise for me to join the party traveling to Farhall at this time. This letter, therefore, will have to serve in my place of intentions. I do not know what it is like to lose a parent, nor what it is like to be a girl, so I will not waste your time with false protestations of understanding or shared grief. I cannot truly comprehend the bleakness and misery of such a loss, and refuse to pretend otherwise for the sake of politeness. However, as the heir to my father's throne, I believe I can share in what must be your wish for greater privacy in relation to those matters of the heart that strangers have no place in. Solitude in which to weep, to grieve, to rage, or to exult. This luxury is not granted to those in our position, and for its lack, I can only express my deepest sympathies. My father says it is for the best, that we must learn early to bear the burdens expected of us without wavering or faltering, and I know he speaks only the truth I must hear. So, perhaps my wish for you ought to be that you will be able to grow from this moment, that you will find it within yourself to bear the truth without flinching, and face the future as a stronger version of the person you once were, now forged in the flames of deepest adversity. However, perhaps I am not as strong as I should be, because my true wish for you is otherwise. Despite my father's admonitions, I hope only that you will find solitude in which to grieve, and yet not feel yourself to be utterly alone. Perhaps in our position, it is our destiny to feel so, but loneliness seems to me to be the heaviest burden a king or queen must face. If these sentiments are unwelcome or bring only additional sorrow, I beg your forgiveness. Respectfully, Prince Danric of Garimore.
Evaraine found herself staring at the page, mouth open, blinking a little in the lamplight as she read it again. How perplexing. He'd been rather rude, and yet he'd also been honest, and strangely thoughtful. Danric of Garimore was clearly a very strange boy. It had dashed her hopes when she realized his mother had forced him to write to her, but his sentiments made her feel something warmer than the icy emptiness of her loss. Even while claiming he could not understand her, he also seemed to know precisely what she most needed. A way to grieve in private, and yet not feel alone. To her surprise, Evaraine discovered that she didn't feel quite so alone anymore. It was only a piece of paper, only a single tenuous thread of connection to a boy she might never meet, but it was more than she'd had only a few moments before. A tiny ray of light in the darkness. Folding the paper neatly and smoothing it with her fingers, Evaraine tucked the letter beneath her pillow and lay back with a sigh.